Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Golden Talkies. After a brief hiatus that was unintentional because we were lazy, on this podcast we discuss films that came out 50 years ago this very week. And in this case, that film is Disney's The Aristocats, which some of you may have noticed is a very cunning pun on aristocrats. It's very funny.
Well,
how are you, Duncan, my dear co-host?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm pretty alright, pretty swell.
Man, that was a big time introduction. No, I just realised I'm not using the microphone that I used last time.
Disgraceful.
I'm using my headset. Oh well, we've started now. There's
I
literally
use
no
my
way.
laptop mic,
There's
which I'm sure
literally
everyone
literally
really
no way to go
appreciates.
back now. Right? Okay, we're
Yeah.
clearly out of practice. We just talked over each other a bunch
Mhm.
in the first, not even into a minute yet. Yeah, we're almost a minute in, so there's no way of possibly changing my microphone now. So, sorry everyone. Do you remember? Either the last episode or the one before when you said that there was loads of stuff that came out in December, so we're going to be really busy making Golden Talks episodes.
Yes.
And it's now the 12th, and we're on our first one, which I guess means we've only missed one in December, but we were two episodes behind now.
Well, don't worry, because almost all of the relevant films came out next week, and obviously, by virtue of the format, we're only going to be able to do one.
Well, I reckon we could do a multi-film extravaganza, mate.
Possibly. So, I mean, whilst we're on the subject, I might as well say next week, not this week, is the release of El Topo, Rio Lobo, and Love Story, all of which are significant for different reasons. Nobody really remembers Love Story, I think, but it was significant at the time.
Okay.
So, they're all worthy of consideration. I am personally very much wanting to see El Topo, as I hear it is good, and I like using this podcast to look at slightly weirder, more obscure things I wouldn't see normally, but,
Right.
we will
Well,
discuss.
we can discuss after. Let's keep the viewers out of that discussion.
Exactly.
The many viewers. So,
Yes. But this week, we are watching The Aristocats.
the Aristocats.
The
So,
world's most artistically ambitious film.
would you like some historical context, Jiminy Bob?
Yeah, you can do so. Why not?
So the film came out. Well, it premiered on the 11th of December. The 11th of December,
Yes.
1970.
It's a little bit of a cheeky.
It came out around Christmas in the US and UK. I think Christmas Eve in the US and the day
Yeah,
after
which is a
Boxing Day
really
in the
weird
UK.
release date, I thought. Because,
Christmas
presumably,
Eve.
not a lot of people are going to be showing up on Christmas Eve.
Yeah, I
Maybe
think
it's for, after Christmas, when you've got, the kids free, but they need something to do.
I assume the reason it released several days later in the UK was because maybe the cinemas were open in the US over Christmas and not in UK. Do you think?
Yeah, maybe just because, US is more multicultural, you mean?
Yeah, I can see the US having their cinemas open Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, and Boxing Day, whereas in the UK
Yeah.
I feel like that's not very likely, and they would open after Boxing Day. That would be my guess for why the release date is staggered by 3 days.
Using the very inexact science of when the first new Star Wars film came out, I assume the ideal release date for any film is December 17th, or a week before Christmas. At least.
Yeah, probably.
'Cause I'm guessing they would have precision engineered the ideal date for a big film then.
Yeah.
So yeah, Christmas Eve seems a bit odd to me, but
A little bit.
who am I to question their ways?
So, that's when it came out. On the 11th of December 1970, can you guess?
Yeah.
So I used takemeback.to as usual. Can you guess which artist, according to that site, this is the biggest news of the day, which artist released an album that contained the word fuck?
It's too early for Rolling Stones, maybe.
No.
Fuck. Bob Dylan.
No.
No. Okay, that's 2 guesses.
You can have 20 more.
No. Ringo Starr and his debut.
Oh, fuck, that
George
is
Harrison
so
has
close.
All Things.
No.
Is this the release of All Things Must Pass?
No.
Ah. That's
John Lennon.
Oh, John Lennon. That's interesting.
I don't know what album, but
Yeah.
apparently
I don't know John Lennon's post-Beatles stuff. I know that he did a big diss track about Paul called "How Do You Sleep at Night."
you don't know John Lennon's post-Beatles stuff. What about Imagine?
Not really.
Or
I
what's his Christmas
I
one?
should say I don't know it
War
that
is
well.
Over.
I think Mother is the only post-release album
Okay.
of his I've listened to very much. And as you know, and I guess our listeners won't, I was in the top 0.05% of Beatles listeners last year, so I consider
Spotify.
myself something of an expert.
It's pretty crazy. Can you guess which Scottish actor was born on the 11th of December 1970?
Sean Connery? No, because he's way older.
Right.
He's about 50. Ewan McGregor?
Oh my god.
What?
What is it with these second guesses being so close?
Someone who's close to Ewan McGregor.
Ridiculously close.
Trainspotting?
I'm not going to give you any more clues. I think you can get it.
Fuck. Who's close to Ewan McGregor?
Scottish actor about the same age.
David Tennant somehow?
No. This is a Scottish actor about the same age that is really close to Ewan McGregor.
Do you mean close, like been in the same stuff, or like he looks similar?
As in, when you said Ewan McGregor, I was like, whoa, that's really close.
Is there another person, Scottish actor with the surname McGregor, who I'm drawing a blank on?
Oh, you're so close.
Liam McGregor, is that a
No,
person?
no, not McGregor.
Another person named Ewan. Ewan Scott, I don't know. Fuck it.
Ewan Bremer.
Shit.
You know, he was in Trainspotting with Ewan McGregor.
Who did he play?
Spud.
Spud.
Oh, did you not? Okay, you don't know Ewan Bremer. Okay, fair enough.
No.
So Ewan Bremer actually originally played Renton in the stage version of Trainspotting.
But he got sort of demoted.
But well, I don't know about demoted, but they when they were casting the film, they were going to cast him as Renton, and then he realised he fitted Spud a lot better, which I think he does if you watch the film.
I mean, I haven't seen his performance as Renton, but he
no,
Spud
true, neither.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, that was my historical context. We had a double quiz.
Ewan McGregor. He's got a big TV series now, as I know you saw. So
yeah.
Congrats, guy.
There was also... Oh, right, quick, just before we move on to that, there was something... Because I told you that I'd spotted something on takemeback.to that was surprising to me, didn't I?
Yeah.
Right, so I was on takemeback.to, and it said Ewan Bremer, right, born whatever, and it had like the little blue name thing, okay?
Yeah.
Like the link. So I clicked on it, and what looked like Wikipedia came up. So I thought to myself, okay, it's a Wikipedia page. And then I noticed that instead of a picture of him, the main thing was some kind of astrological chart. And I realized that I was on astrodatabank.com. Sorry, astro.com/astrodatabank, which is essentially Wikipedia, but for astrological, specifically for astrological stuff. And here's the creepy bit. It's got the exact time that he was born.
That's
7:34 p.m.
Okay.
That's the thing that threw me.
It's on public record, are they?
I don't know. All I know. It's also got the place that he was born, including the what looks like to be some sort of coordinates, the time zone that it was in. The date and the data source. It says quoted something. So, and then it's got all his astrology data. So the thing that threw me off, right? Because I clicked on it and it looks exactly like Wikipedia. This page, the time was the thing that threw me off. I was kind of like, oh, this page is ordered a bit weird. And I looked born, blah, 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 and then it said the time, and that's what threw me off. But yeah, this is a very bizarre website I've discovered. Astro.com. And it's like a Wikipedia wiki thing. Anyway, that's just that's a by the way.
Rube Goldberg died this week, I found, when I was looking things up, of Rube Goldberg machines. And
that guy.
Importantly, as a cartoonist. And then other than that, it didn't seem like a lot of historical stuff of import had happened.
No, I guess not.
Yeah. History is pretty slow during December,
Yeah, it's true. Everyone kind of... I mean, like, even the First World War, stopped for Christmas Day, so...
Well, actually, I suppose we'll set fear. It's like historical stuff tends to happen during the summer because it's easier to go outside, I guess.
Yeah.
And during winter, it's hard to get a riot together or whatever.
Exactly. So yeah, you were talking about Ewan McGregor and his series. I was following. It was quite interesting because on our group chat there was you were watching the video game awards. You were messaging every time there was a new award or trailer or something. and then
Yeah.
someone else was watching the Disney reveal thing, and they were saying every time that there was some kind of thing revealed or something interesting in the Disney show, but no one was replying, and neither of you were replying to each other. So it was just kind of 2 hours worth of messages that I woke up to. Of
I feel
you saying,
that my tradition of
"Oh my God, there's this game," and then them saying, "Oh, they've just announced this show," and then you going, "Oh, this just won the award," and then them going, "Whoa, I can't believe they've got this person in this show," and it was just no human interaction. It was very internet.
Tradition as old as time is me watching things like E3 and the Game Awards and just directly vomiting what happens into the group chat to no reply, and I refuse to adjust for surrounding circumstances.
That's fair. I respect that.
Mm-hmm. That's been going on since at least 2014, I'm pretty sure. So, that's like 6 years of history. And who am I to interrupt that?
It's true. Yeah, it was good. So yeah, the Obi-Wan Kenobi is having a show with Hayden Christensen in it.
Mm-hmm. As Darth Vader, though, which seems weird.
Which is interesting.
Presumably, he's not going to be doing the voice, because James Earl Jones is still alive and likely going to be much better at it.
So, in the prequels, is it James Earl Jones that goes, "No"?
It must be, right?
I don't know, man. I can't really remember. Could be.
I don't know. I'm guessing, like...
I assume there's going to be various points where he takes his mask off, and...
I guess, but, like, we know what he looks like under the mask, and it's really fucked up, is the idea.
Yeah.
I don't know, I feel there's not a lot of room for fun stories about Obi-Wan within the canon, and I'm sure they're going to bend over backwards to establish some in a way that would really irritate me.
Well, there's a bunch of stuff about him. There's a fair bit of him in some of the animated stuff, I think.
Yeah, but it's just, like... I have very little patience for the Star Wars expanded universe. I think it's silly.
That's fair. I quite like it.
That's fair. I'm not detracting from that.
No, you better not be.
Nope.
We were talking about Disney Plus earlier.
Yeah.
About how you have it because you're such a weeboo, then you just watch Crunchyroll instead.
Well, yeah, what I was saying is I have Disney Plus because I bought it. I might have mentioned this on the podcast, actually. I bought it while drunk to watch Phineas and Ferb the movie.
Oh.
Which was fine.
That's right, I want to see it, yeah.
Yeah, well, you can watch it on my Disney Plus account.
For the next few days.
For the next few days.
I do have an exam that finishes about
but I
the same
feel,
time.
speaking as fan of the animes, where I have to pay like for 3 different streaming services just
You have to. You have to.
I have to. I'm forced to.
Yeah, legally obliged to, yeah.
I'm legally obliged to have both Crunchyroll, Funimation, and HiDive.
Yeah.
So I feel I can't pay for a streaming service I don't use, particularly if it's going to a company that I think is too powerful and makes too much money. So that's why I'm abandoning the Disney Plus ship. And also, I don't really like much of the stuff Disney makes, which, hey, isn't that a fantastic segue into the main body of the podcast?
Yes.
Cool. So, the film, in case you've very understandably forgotten, is the Aristocats, which, to remind you, is a really funny pun. This is the first film we have ever watched that begins with a racism warning. Which, ain't that fun?
Well, yeah, I mean, I do feel like some of the other ones would otherwise have a racism warning if they were on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
But I do know what you mean. Yeah.
So, I don't know. I think we've talked about these on the podcast before, but it didn't overturn my opinion that I feel they're kind of insubstantial, although I don't really know what the best solution would be. I feel like you shouldn't show films that are racist to your children anyway.
True.
So I guess... Yeah.
I mean, this one... It's kind of more of a stereotype.
With one unbelievably shocking exception.
Yeah.
So 99% of its runtime is fine. But,
yeah.
I don't know. I feel it's a bit strange because obviously, when you put a little warning on that then I think it's definitely better than nothing. And I think these things should be accessible more for archival / historical purposes. I think if you're an animation buff or whatever, then you should be able to see all Disney catalog.
Yeah.
But I feel there's also a certain thing towards you can stick it in front of the kids as long as they get like this little message saying like, "Hey, it's quite racist." Bye.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
so, like I know with the Warner Brothers cartoons, like they have like a mini documentary with Whoopi Goldberg like explicitly talking to you about how Mama Tootsie isn't, kosher.
Right.
Which I think aimed at children, which I think is the better approach. Although I don't know if that's like compulsory every time you watch one. But yeah, it's a difficult needle to thread.
It is.
But you know, this is not the most racist film Disney has ever made, but it's still quite alarming, as we will get to.
It's got a wee stereotype in it that's
Yeah.
perhaps a little bit racist.
A question. So this is the Aristocats once more. It is set in what I thought was a quite unique setting of Paris in 1910.
Yeah.
I like sort of turn of the century narratives. I always think they're quite interesting. I feel it's an underexplored period. But this film also doesn't explore it because it does the Disney thing where every main character is American regardless of what country they are supposed to come from, and every secondary character is English.
Well,
And
there's also Russian cat and
mu-
Chinese cat.
Yeah, some of the cats have different personalities, but among the humans is almost entirely British, with I think one French guy as an incredibly minor character.
Yeah.
So you're not going to be getting a great flavour of French culture here, which I suppose is quite a contrast to how they do films nowadays, where a lot of like Disney and Pixar films are very like selling themselves based on like sort of exploration of another culture.
Yeah.
Like sort of like compare this to Ratatouille as another sort of like Disney. Well, it's not Disney, but Disney Pixar film set in Paris, and like the approach to exploring the culture there. Whereas I think in this film it could really take place anywhere, and I don't really quite get why they set it in Paris. It doesn't really come into play at any point. Also, the currency they use in the film is dollars, and that really annoyed me.
I didn't notice that.
So
Yeah.
I wrote it down and underlined it 3 times. But disgraceful stuff. So we start with an oldish aristocratic lady who lives in Paris in the rich district. She's a rich gal and she owns 4 cats. A mother cat called Duchess and 3 children cats. We don't know where their father is. Which I find weird because I feel in a Disney film they would like explicitly say that he's dead. But you know what? Fair enough.
Maybe. Yeah. Well, I feel like there's kind of an element though where cats can be bought and stuff, can't they?
Yeah, I mean,
It's not like a human father that's missing.
presumably this hypothetical cat is both orange and black, half and half.
Yeah.
I think the actual explanation is that this film is pretending that like the mother cat like reproduced asexually. But
Yeah, I think so. I think it's kind of because probably nowadays you would say that that's pretty. It's pretty good normalization of a single mother.
yeah,
Where they don't need the father. But I definitely wouldn't claim that that's what's going on in this film. But I do
Yeah,
think
I don't
that I do think
find it-
that is the sort of thing that would happen nowadays, which is pretty.
yeah.
good,
I think they'd probably work in that angle, or like people would
Yeah.
find it easier to read in. But I think in this it's more just sort of
Yeah.
mother is the magical provider.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the Duchess is very posh and very nice. Those are her 2 sort of character traits. Or good natured, I suppose, would be the better way of phrasing it.
Yeah, well, very nice.
Yeah. There are 3 kitten cats. One is a girl, and you can tell because she has a pink bow. And one is called Toulouse. He's the orange one, and he likes to pretend that he can fight.
Yeah.
And then there's a black one whose name I've forgotten. They are the main characters, but are not very memorable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's called like It's got a D and a Z in it somewhere.
I genuinely cannot remember.
D and an L. Daylor?
Um,
Dazor?
yeah. They get a lot of freedom within the house, and they are learning to paint and to play piano. This film has 3 songs in it, one of which is during the opening credits, which, for the sake of completeness, I will say are good opening credits.
Yep. Very good.
Got pretty pictures, nice theme song. These are the 2 things they need.
Yeah.
And then they played the song Scales and Arpeggios, which I'm just saying as an amateur music critic, I thought was fucking terrible. Uh, Genuinely one of the worst Disney songs I've ever heard. I don't know
Is
what
that
you
the one
thought.
where it's like you have to know your scales?
And you can't even sing it. Like, it's,
Yeah.
I can't tell you how it goes.
No,
It's not
neither.
good. Um, yeah, so criticism for that. Anyway, to get onto the actual plot of the thing, because I don't want to do a full plot recap. Um,
Of course not.
the old lady's attorney comes around and she says that she wants to leave everything to her cats, which, speaking as someone almost legally qualified, I will tell you is not how the law works.
Some people have done
And
that. Some people have done that though.
you can't leave your money to your cats.
Some people have left money to dogs and stuff.
You can I'm sure you can give someone the responsibility for making sure that they're well looked after, but you can't leave money to a dog. It's not a legal person.
Can you leave money to an animal?
It's not going to have a bank account. Perhaps also more importantly.
Wait.
Yes.
No, you can't. Not
Yeah.
directly, anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Leave money in trust for the purpose of caring for your pets.
Yes.
You need to appoint a specific person, more than one person, to look after the money for them.
Yes.
And this person be able to use the money however they see fit to care for your pet in line with your wishes. I don't understand your wishes.
Yeah.
Would that be legally binding?
The trust. Yeah, you wouldn't be able to. Well, you. I don't know if you. It's been a while since I did trust law. I don't know if you could compel them to look after your pet. But they wouldn't be able. They definitely wouldn't be able to legally use that money for anything else.
Other than looking after your pet. So that is interesting.
Mhm.
Could the animals take them to court for not?
Okay, Duncan. I'm going to say this again. Animals are not legal people.
What about kangaroo? What about a kangaroo court?
That's not what I should. Oh no, I was going to say that's not what a kangaroo court is, but in a sort of certain reason it would be.
It kind of would be, wouldn't it? Got you thinking now, don't I, buddy?
Yeah.
Thought you were
It's just
so cool.
the snake eating its own tail.
Yeah.
Uh,
That's
and
an interesting one.
so she says that she's leaving the money to her cats, and then when the cats die, it'll go to Elgar, which also isn't something you'd be able to do. You wouldn't be able to say I leave my money to person A, and then when person A dies, it goes to B. It's person A's decision, where the money goes.
Right. What if, right, in this situation,
Yeah.
right, you left the money to Edgar, but you had to look after the cats, okay?
Yeah.
Right? And then, but he gets the money if the cats die, okay? If he
That would.
if he killed the cats, what would happen?
I think the bare rules of that would be valid. I'm sure there would be a bad faith exemption if it turned out that Edgar had killed them on purpose and he wouldn't get the money.
Right.
But yeah, I think if this was going to be a realistic film, quote unquote, or I suppose if you are looking for advice on what to do to make sure your pets are looked after, what you would do is you would leave the money to Elgar and then either privately say to him, "I want you to look after my pets if you trust him," or if you don't, then make him or someone else manager of a trust to make sure that your pet
legally.
has the
But
money.
yeah, but is it so? Okay, so you said there's not a way. There's not a way to leave money to someone and make them leave it to someone else.
No.
Sure. But is there a way to leave money to a trust, and then if the trust completes its mission, then someone individually gets that money?
Probably.
So in theory, this film could be true. If rather than just stating that she's leaving the money to the cat, she left it in a trust, but then said to Edgar to get the money once the cats die.
entire fortune in trust for the cats.
Yeah. And Edgar would get that trust money if the cats die.
Possibly, although I like I say, I have forgotten what happens when a trust finishes its goal. Because I think the thing is, most trusts are for a project that's never going to end. If you know what I mean. It's you put money a trust maintain an estate or feed the poor or something. If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So I think cases where trusts actually are definitively finished are rarer. If you want, I could look it up right now. I have my notes on this computer.
Can you?
If you're interested. Yeah, why not?
Man,
You
how
tell
far?
me.
This has turned into like a legal eagle review of
This is what I've
Aristocats.
always wanted. Uh,
Is this? Are you slowly moving the podcast in another direction here?
yeah, we
Was
are
this your
eventually
ploy?
going to be. It's eventually going to be a legal discussion of anime podcast. I think we all knew that was going
Your
to happen.
your ploy was to take a couple weeks off, so we kind
Yeah.
of forget the format a bit, then come in with this kind of legal review, and then say that was really
Mhm.
interesting. We should add some more legal aspects going forward, and then slowly merge,
Yeah.
get rid of the 50-year thing. I know your fucking plan, mate.
Well, the plan is that now that I have sole responsibility over what films we do next, I can just lie to you and tell you that they're all anime films, and then it'll be too late for you to realize what's going on after we're
Okay.
about 10 weeks in.
Okay.
Um, okay, hold on. I should just show you. Variation.
Okay, this is dead air.
It is dead air.
How's
Sorry.
everyone doing
Basically,
today?
the answer is I don't know.
No, keep
Uh,
looking, keep looking.
okay.
It's fine. I'll fill in. We're all good, Jamie. So, what have people been up to, audience? Uh-huh. Yeah? Oh, really? That's
Yeah.
cool. What did she say? Oh, I'm happy for you, bro. That's nice. Uh, yeah. What about you? Yeah. Oh, you've been doing that, have you? Wow, that's interesting. You know, I've done that before as well. Many times. Um, so also, oh yeah, there's someone else got their hand up. Yeah, you've got a question. Yeah, yeah. So the reason that Jamie's not speaking at the moment is he's currently looking up the legal review because we're watching the Aristocats, and there's a bit where the lady leaves money in her will to her cats, and Jamie's just looking up whether Edgar could benefit from killing the cats if this was a real life legal situation. I hope that Jamie's looking up specifically turn of the century French law because otherwise I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, I don't really know what he thinks is going to be binding here, but it's fine.
Mhm.
Jamie, are you still
Yeah.
looking?
I
Still
have
here?
absolutely no fucking clue. I've looked at it. I can't figure it out. I either didn't study it or I didn't take proper notes. I apologize to everyone.
Probably didn't take proper notes, to be honest.
Probably. Maybe I could email my professors.
Could you
Um,
actually, for next week, could you email one of your professors?
I don't have the courage. Particularly, I think I'm in bad with the relevant professor.
Are
But
you? Why?
I've inconvenienced them. I don't want to inconvenience them. with
Why?
some
Why?
people.
Why? Why? Why?
I sent an email to the wrong address, and then a relevant person got in touch with the professor to email them to tell me to email them from the correct address. And then that first person hasn't replied now that I've emailed them from the first address, so it's an irritating thing. Uh, you know, as happens.
I've just got an email, Jamie,
Mm-hmm.
from YouTube,
Yes.
right? And it says, Golden Talkies. See how creators kept us inspired in 2020.
Yeah.
What a year. Let's take a moment to reflect on some of the good.
Yeah.
And then I think it might be supposed to be like a year in review thing, but because we've not done anything. Wait, what the fuck? Let's take a look at how creators across Europe, Russia, and sub-Saharan Africa brought us together. Why? Why?
I guess that's just one grouping YouTube has.
I guess so. There's a right. So I've clicked on the link, and it's a playlist, an unlisted playlist of 12 videos, with no views.
Good.
I taught my cat to play the guitar
All right.
by Shannon
This
Langdon.
film in a way.
PE with Joe. That's the guy that did, Joe, the guy that did all the stuff. All the, the lockdown fitness stuff.
Oh, Joe Wicks. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it must be him. Uncle Roger disgusted by this egg fried rice video. BBC Food by Mr.
Okay.
Nigel NG. There's a
Mhm.
parody song. There's a German video about depression. There's another German video, it looks like. I don't know what that is. It's some kind of sports thing. There's a Russian video about washing your hands. There's a French person saying that they're launching their YouTube channel. A time lapse of a structural works factory being renovated. Another German vlog with someone who's got a baby. A gay couple's got a baby, it looks like.
Nice.
This one could be Spanish, I think. It looks like another building thing. And then basic sign language used while wearing a face mask. Why? What is this? Why is this? I'm going to forward this to you, Jamie. I feel like that you deserve to see this email as much as me. Jamie?
Oh, yeah. I'm listening. I hadn't
Sorry.
nodded off. I swear.
It really sounds like you nodded off
Speaking
there.
of nodding off, Elgar,
get back
in
to
the
the film.
of the Aristocats, 1970, conspires to drug the cats for sleeping pills, so he can throw them in a river. And the cats share their meal with a mouse, which is voiced by Jim Cummings, which looks weirdly out of place because his eyes are black dots, and it upsets
Yeah,
me.
that was a bit
rather than
creepy.
Disney eyes. But I like the Winnie the Pooh voice, so he's in my good books. Jim Cummings should voice every character. Anyway, he tries to throw the cats in the river. He goes on a motorbike out of town, but he's foiled by two dogs, which the film thinks are much funnier than they are.
Yeah, they're really not remotely funny.
No. They're also Southern American to
Yeah.
really, hammer home the not caring about.
Their names are Napoleon and Lafayette, if I remember correctly.
Yes, but not It's Lafayette or something, isn't it? They don't pronounce it properly.
They don't pronounce it properly. No, I was
No,
pronouncing it
irritates
properly.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
And I appreciate that.
In the film, it is not pronounced properly.
Yeah. So the cats don't end up drowning in the river. They sort of wake up the next day, and they're greeted by Tom O'Malley, who was voiced by whoever voiced Baloo the bear, and looks a lot like Baloo for a cat. And he sort of flirts with Duchess for a bit and volunteers to help them go home.
Flirts pretty heavily.
Pretty heavily.
Yeah.
And thus begins an epic quest to walk a relatively short distance to get back home, facing no real adversity.
Yeah, this was my big thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of implied at the start of the film that these cats are really going to struggle out in the alleys because all the alley cats are really tough, right?
Yeah.
And there was me expecting them to get dumped out and have the classic like Disney villains of like the scary cats with the shining eyes, like the eyes shining in the dark and all that kind of stuff. And maybe the cats would get split up and all the kids would have to find each other and where's their mum. But no, they get dumped off, they're all together. A nice alley cat comes and talks to them. They get in the back of someone's truck.
Other nice people.
Yeah. There's one guy, they get in a guy's truck and he tells them to get off the truck and he shouts at them a bit.
This is the one French guy who says Sacre Bleu twice with 2 minutes of screen time.
They're not in a lot of danger at that point. And then they walk the rest of the way, they come across some other nice alley cats, do a little song, and then they get home.
Don't forget the English geese, who have to say that because most of the characters in this film are English. But, they really say. And Uncle Horace, who's a funny drunk.
Horace? Waldo.
Is it Horace? What was it? Uncle Waldo, that's it, sorry.
Yeah, Uncle Waldo, who's a funny drunk goose.
Yes, he's a drunk man, and they all laugh at him,
Goose.
even Duchess, Goose. They all have a good laugh at him, and Duchess laughs at the fact that he's marinated. And then these go away. I think their only purpose in the film was to introduce us to Uncle Waldo, just because he's such a funny character.
Well, they stop O'Malley from drowning.
Yes, but that scene is also quite contrived. So
yeah, that's about the only adversity in the film. Oh no, there's a train. There's a bit when they're on the train line and the train comes towards them, but they just
that's the only time I think
down.
of mortal peril. It's just that it is also resolved in 10 seconds and isn't even seen as that threatening.
They just climb down. One of them falls in. They're in the water for a bit. Then they get out of the water, and that was all the peril there.
Yep.
At no point do they come across a tough alley cat, or any kind of gang, or any real danger.
Well, there's no external threats.
Yeah.
And there's no real character conflicts either. Everyone just kind of gets on well.
Yeah.
Whereas I feel I don't want to cause I feel like I do say a lot in these podcasts like this film would be better if it was more cliched. But to go on this film would be better if it was more cliched tangent. I feel like maybe if you had it so that maybe Duchess and O'Malley didn't get on at first would seem to be natural, or if the kid's mother was missing, or because it's Disney dead. had to struggle by a bit, then that would introduce something. But like, as it is, they all get along well. They're all in a position of relative safety
Yeah.
throughout the entire thing.
There's not even any clash of cultures.
No,
which is really the whole point of the film, is that they're upper class cats and they come across all these alley cats, but they just kind of get along.
Well, I feel like if either like O'Malley thought that Duchess was like a bit of a snob, or if Duchess didn't like accept O'Malley's way, she thought he was too crass.
I think it could work if like one of O'Malley's friends was like, "Why have you brought these posh cats back?" That could work. Well,
or even that would be a small thing. But
no,
they're very open and accepting everyone.
Yeah.
Which, I suppose is a good example for the Kiddywinks, but it does make for a really fucking boring film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really fucking boring, actually. Yeah. Where did we get to? They meet all his mates who do a little song.
Yes, they do the only good song in the film.
Yeah, the only good song in the film. Pretty interesting visually. About the only time in the film.
It's very jazzy. I think if there were more like jazzy interludes, then that would be interesting.
Yeah.
I suppose if it was just like, maybe if it was just they got lost and it was like set in like the more sort of cool. What's it? More. What am I trying to say? I guess just lower class areas of Paris and like the more the jazz culture influence. I mean, as it is, it's a very good song number. This is the one that contains the unbelievably racist caricature, which is the Chinese cat. Who plays the piano with chopsticks and has the buck teeth and talks about how he talks nonsense with words like Hong Kong and how fortune cookie is always wrong.
His lines like egg foo young Hong Kong, the fortune cookie's always wrong, or something like that.
Yes.
He's pretty racist.
And he does that really racist. I think the thing is, for me as an adult viewer, it's so racist and so like bizarrely out of nowhere, at least in the context of the film, that I sort of was a negative feedback loop to just being like weirdly hilarious, but like in an awful way.
Yeah.
It is genuinely bizarre how brazen it is.
Yeah.
That's I guess that's that. Well, the thing is, I was going to say that's the era, but like the whole point of this project is that we've been looking at films from this era. So now I can pretty relatively authoritatively say that wasn't the era. Actually, it was quite racist even within the context at the time.
Yeah, I would say so.
So there we go. Whole thing was worth it to call this film racist. But yeah. So yeah, they have their fun jazzy interlude.
Yeah.
Then they make their way back home. Again, no incident. Duchess and talks about how nice it would be to live with O'Malley, but they can't because they have to go home to their owner. The very obvious solution is that O'Malley would come to live with them, which does happen in the end. It's just sort of not commented on here, I guess. Even if it was like if Duchess was like, O'Malley, you should come live with us, and O'Malley was like, no, I like my life as a swinging jazz man.
Yeah.
And then that'd be conflict. It'd be fun.
But they could just live alongside each other. They can do.
Yeah. Again, just very easy workarounds. Anyway, they get back home. Elgar tries to kidnap them again, but Roquefort, the Winnie the Pooh mouse, is able to enlist the help of O'Malley and his gang. And
he's in some danger for a bit.
A little
bit, because he forgets
yes.
O'Malley's name. He says O'Brien, O'Conaughey, Jackson, and then they almost see him, and then he goes, O'Malley, and they go, O'Malley, and then it's all fine.
Yeah. It's quite strange, given that you'd think that they'd figure it out from context who he was talking about, but
I think they know. I think they know, but I think they're teasing him.
They do wink, don't they? But yeah, so they all beat up an Elgar, and he gets trapped in a trunk to Timbuktu, where presumably he will agonizingly suffocate to death. And O'Malley goes to live with them. A happy ending. The owner is reunited with her cats and pointedly suggests that she wants Duchess and O'Malley to fuck.
Yeah.
And that's the ending. Weird thing that skipped over here that I want to bring up is the bit where the geese comment on how scandalous it is that Duchess and O'Malley aren't married, which is a very weird thing to see in a children's film, frankly.
Yeah, especially when they've not actually really done anything.
No, but just like I don't remember in any Disney film before the discussion of whether or not these are bastard kittens who are
Yeah.
not deserving of love.
Yeah.
Um,
Pretty interesting.
yeah, I'm just trying to think of anything else to say about
The film.
story. I really hate the geese. Just to be clear, we skipped over them because they're really boring.
Yeah. They think they're funny. So the dogs think they're funny. The geese think they're funny.
The dogs get two very extended scenes with Elgar that are like supposed to be slapstick, but I would say are quite bad slapstick, frankly, or at least it doesn't have enough impact for me. I would say,
Yeah.
to be funny. One thing I forgot to mention is that Elgar, in the middle of the film, before he makes the second trip to the dog, brings up a newspaper, and then front page is the mysterious catnapping, which is described as a work of genius.
Yeah.
Which
presumably because he's not suspected at all.
Yes.
So it looks like someone's broken in without being noticed and taken the cats without.
A very slow news day, nonetheless.
No, definitely, yeah. Yeah. It's also interesting that he decides to confess to the horse.
Yes.
For some reason, I guess he thinks the horse is his mate.
Well, the horse can't. He can't hear the horse talk. He doesn't know the horse is conscious.
No, I know.
I know. So, yeah, same as any your standard horse confession.
Yeah, true. He just has to tell someone.
Yeah, he's so happy with his catnapping. It went so beautifully, even though it didn't. He got distracted and lost them. But, you know. I feel it's a Disney film, so we should comment on the visuals in terms of the animation. So this is part of the Xerox era of Disney. So to give a little history lesson, because I read up on this and I found it interesting anyway. So the initial Disney films, your Snow White, your Alice in Wonderland, and more importantly, your Sleeping Beauty, were all hand drawn, hand painted. Okay.
Yeah.
And this meant that the animator's drawings had to be traced over onto the cells and then hand painted, which was a very slow process, and it meant it was very long and expensive. And this culminated in Sleeping Beauty, which took 6 years to produce, but was very financially unsuccessful. And this got Disney to the point where it was no longer financially feasible to make movie animation. And there were a lot of layoffs, and there was a risk that they were going to have to focus instead on TV production. But what happened is that the technology for Xeroxing, which is like it's the same technology that I think photocopiers use, at least for early photocopiers, I think current ones still, which allowed the drawings of the animators to be transferred directly onto the cells without tracing. So that cut out a lot of man hours and made production a lot cheaper. And thus they were able to make these films financially viable again. And the first film to use that technology was 101 Dalmatians. But the thing about Xeroxing is that it only allows for these very black, sketchy lines, which is why Disney films from this era have this very sketchy style with very defined outlines. You may have noticed.
Oh, sorry, I fell asleep there.
So
I wasn't a big fan of it.
Yeah, so 101 Dalmatians, Jungle Book, Robin Hood, and this film all have a very distinct look. And I think it's sometimes done well. I think 101 Dalmatians is a pretty good looking film. It's been a while since I've seen it, and I like Jungle Book. But
Jungle Book's good. I didn't like this one. It was it felt not finished.
Yeah, some of the faces in particular are a bit weird, and the human characters. The cats are fine, I think. Probably because it's easier to draw. But there's a lot of face, particularly of the owner, in close-ups that look very odd. I also thought the composition was a bit off at some certain points. It looked a bit weird. A lot of the characters didn't look like they were really in the scene.
Yeah.
They're sort of floating on top of the background. Particularly that extended scene on the stairs near the beginning. Although I realised stairs are difficult to do in animation. I thought the cars though were really good. The vehicles were often like 3D, which I'm assuming is still hand drawn, so I was quite impressed by.
Yeah.
And I thought the backgrounds were really nice, particularly of Paris.
Yeah, I'd agree with the backgrounds are
very
good.
nice.
They just kind of the animations felt a bit weird, like the characters and stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot of lack of impact, and I think particularly the slapstick sequences that really shows.
Yeah, the stair one was funny.
Yeah, do you like it?
I don't know if I liked it, but it was kind of a bit funny compared to.
I liked it a lot more
it,
than the dogs.
I didn't find the rest at all funny, but the stairs I was kind of like, the stairs I was kind of like, oh yeah, that's a bit funny. That's a bit funny that he.
Yeah, the two sequences with the butler and the dogs just go on for ages and just aren't. I'm sure I would like them if I was a small child, and obviously that is the film's target audience.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know. I know. I'm pretty sure some kids I babysat once, like this was their favorite film, so I don't want to like poo-poo it.
Poor little cunts.
So long as the youngins like it. But I would say of the Disney oeuvre, this is very much not the worst, but definitely low tier, if you know what I mean. It's quite forgettable, quite boring. I think Aristocats' one claim to quality is one song in it, which is also incredibly racist.
Yeah, it is incredibly racist. That scene was nice. It was quite nicely done. Yeah. The music was quite good, but it just the rest of the film didn't really make
it's
up. It's
very generic. It feels a very TV movie.
It's generic, but without it doesn't have the cliches that you need to make it interesting. It's kind of a bit both.
And yeah, like obviously, I'm talking about it as something children would enjoy. But as I said before, I don't think you should show the film to children. So I don't think it really has any value for anyone apart from sort of completionist.
Apart from us,
Disney stuff. Yeah, I think it should be left behind in the dustbin of history, really. So yeah,
that's fair.
Do you want to go on to final ratings? I feel that's a pretty decent seg.
Yeah.
Okay, as you could probably tell from the speech I was giving, I'd rate this a don't watch, I think.
Yeah, me too, I think. I mean, I would rate it watch if you're a kid. Or, basically if you're a child.
The thing is, like, children are going to be entertained by literally anything. So you might as well show them something better.
Like, yeah, but I think this is not bad as a kid's film. So I'm kind of like, whatever. But I would say don't watch if you're not a child. And I feel like I feel like a lot of people are big fans of the Aristocats, so,
Well, the thing is, with all Disney films, like, a lot of people are gonna have an attachment to it. It's like nostalgic.
Well, exactly, because back in the day, we had a couple of VHSs that you could watch. Like I think I've got like a cupboard in my house that has like 20 VHSs in it, and that was all the films that I watched as a kid.
Yeah. Well, like, I didn't.
So yeah, you're gonna have more of attachment to them. Whereas now, nowadays these newfangled streaming services and stuff, these kids have everything.
Yeah. But I would say like I think the films for me would have been Disney's Tarzan and Disney's Winnie the Pooh as like the Disney films I grew up with, and then also Shrek, which I watch far more often. But that's a generational thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. But on the other hand, I think the reason I watched Shrek far more often was that my dad liked it. So that's also the value of appealing to adults. I suppose.
Shrek is good though.
They're the ones who put the VHS in at the end of the day.
Shrek is very good.
Yeah, we'll get to Shrek in 30 years' time.
Man, that would be nice.
Yeah.
I can get behind that. That is something I can. That's something I can very much get behind.
Yeah. Moving back to 50 years ago, very much the doldrums of Disney.
Yeah.
Right.
Is there not a period that Disney's like known for just being a bit shit?
This is it. Like the thing is, like the Disney eras are just made up by fans, so they sound stupid if you look it up.
Yeah. Okay.
So like, I was looking at a blog post for this called "The 7 Eras of Disney Filmmaking," which I'm going to go ahead and call bullshit. But But like, I think it's generally accepted that they had a very good period towards the beginning of their output. Obviously, there was Snow White and the rest. And then
Yeah.
there was a lull during the 80s in particular. No, sorry, a lull during the 70s.
Yeah.
And in the 80s, they came back with Little Mermaid and made Little Mermaid, Aladdin, Lion King, and Beauty and the
Yeah.
Beast in quick succession. But then that too began to fail with Pocahontas and Hunchback and Hercules. And then they sort of picked themselves up yet again with Tangled in a way. Although I don't. I mean, I was going to say I don't really like the new Disney films, but in fairness, I'm not the target audience for them, so I'm not something to say. Certainly popular, but I wish they would go back to hand-drawn animation. It looks nice.
Yeah, hand drawn's cool.
Oh, not hand-drawn, 2D.
I don't know if hand drawn's cool. I kind of like 3D.
It's all that's on offer now, if you know, in terms of feature
Yeah.
film animation. And I think I think generally, obviously there are exceptions, but I think generally 2D animation tends to look a lot nicer. I think just because you have more control over like the composition and stuff. And
Yeah.
as a very childish person, I still find drawings moving very magical and spellbinding.
You are a very childish person.
Mm-hmm. All right. So I think we're done with the film. Do you want to talk about what you've been up to, or shall we? Peace out.
Oh, I mean, I think we can talk about what we've been up to for, get
Cool.
this up to an hour. I've not really been up to much, though. What have you been up to?
Okay. So I finished Yakuza Kiwami, which I talked about last time.
Right.
I'm not going to change my opinion. I think the main, although actually, I feel the main story is quite good, but I think it does not focus enough on the rivalry, the emotionally charged rivalry that drives it. It's sort of treated weirdly like an afterthought within the main structure, which is a shame because it's definitely the best part about it. And again, there are two side. There's really only one side quest actually in it that I thought was good. I was comparing to Yakuza 0, so that was definitely very disappointing. But as a sort of 40-hour palate cleanser, between hammering away at The Witcher 3, I thought it was quite good. I'm really keen to play Yakuza Kiwami 2, which I will no doubt get around to one day. And then I also finished reading the second short story collection of The Witcher. I think I talked about finishing the first collection of the podcast, and I think those stories are a bit stronger generally. Not those. The second collection is stronger. I think I like its thematic content. I like that it gets to the core of Geralt's character a bit more. I really feel like Netflix did The Witcher dirty, actually. I've sort of... I mean, this is always the case when you read the book, right, after watching the film or a TV show in this case. But there's a lot of changes they make that I don't really like. I think take the focus away from Geralt as a character, and I think take away from some of the theming of the books that's a bit stronger.
Okay.
I really don't... I get what Netflix was doing in adding the parallel plot lines into The Witcher TV show. Did you watch the TV show?
No.
No. Okay, well, the TV show is split between three plots. Or three characters, we better say, who each have their own plots. But, like, only one of them was written down. And the others are, like, events that were implied to happen.
Right.
Or not implied, but, like, you told about them. And I think, like, the gap in quality is quite evident in the TV show. And I wish more time was spent on fleshing these stories out properly. Because it does feel like Netflix is kind of rushing through them, because I understand that The Witcher as a series gets a lot more Game of Thronesy as you get later on, and that's really what Netflix wants to get to. I don't really want to have these... They don't really want to spend much time on these sort of short stories that are about like weird little morality tales. That are all sort of kind of sad, which is a shame, because they're very good. On the other hand, they exist in book form, and I've read them now, so who am I to complain?
No one.
Mm-hmm. And I watched, to have a controversial opinion, I watched Muppet Christmas Carol, and I thought it's just okay. I like the Jim Carrey one more.
Oh, come
Jim
on.
Carrey one is like weirder and darker, and that to me is what Christmas Carol is. I like it being twisted. It should be about really just torturing an old man until he's forced to like Christmas. None of this fucking Kermit the Frog shit.
Jamie, why'd you say that? That's my Kermit impression.
Good. So yeah, those are my
How does Kermit
that's my
sound
media
like?
consumption.
Oh,
Uh,
oh, Miss Piggy.
mm-hmm.
Don't put it there, Miss Piggy.
Yes.
So you're talking about The Witcher.
Yeah,
Cyberpunk came out.
it did. It
Are you
seems
gonna get it?
no, or at least not for a few years yet. I think.
Yeah, I'm
The thing is, like
I'm
games like
debating.
this, they have too much hype around them, so
Right.
no outlet is like willing to be that harsh on them, with a few exceptions.
Yeah.
And I feel with these sorts of things, it's better to wait a few years and then see what public opinion is then. And also, it does seem like the one universal opinion is that right now it is a bug-ridden mess that may or may
Yeah.
not improve with time. So I might as well wait.
Well, the reason I'm probably waiting is I don't think it would run very well on my PC,
Mhm.
and I'm thinking of getting a new PC at some point in the near-ish future.
Yeah.
And I have an Xbox One X, and I feel like it's probably made more for Xbox Series X,
Yeah, I think from what I've heard, it runs quite badly on
current gen,
current. Yeah,
or
current.
I guess last gen.
I guess it's last gen now, but it feels weird to say that.
Yeah, current gen, we'll say.
Mm.
I
But yeah,
think
there's
though.
interesting stuff. A lot of people, or not a lot of people, but I've heard people say that it seems like a lot of content was cut.
All right.
Like it seems like there were features that they didn't have time to add in.
So that
so-
could always be a DLC thing.
Yeah, well, I'm assuming.
I've seen a lot of people say that they're going to wait for like the inevitable Game of the Year edition that's going to have like all
Yeah,
DLC in
well, I
it in,
think
like, a
the
year's
thing with
time.
just like modern big budget games at this point is that like
Yeah.
it's always better to wait because there will always be like this super overblown like review reaction, and then you look back in 2 years and nobody's going to give a shit.
Yeah.
And also like they always end up patching stuff in that is like really important and helpful.
Yeah.
So just why do you need to? And it's not even going to be that revolutionary gameplay wise, right? Like CD Projekt, at least with Witcher 3, and it seems with Cyberpunk, like their unique thing is that the writing is unusually good for a video game.
Yeah.
Like you're not going to be missing out on like it's not going to be a unique gameplay experience. It's going to be exactly the same as every other like open world sort of craftal RPG game, you know?
Yeah.
Um,
I do think it looks good though, but yeah, I think I'll wait. But I think I'm going to get Watch Dogs Legion at Christmas.
oh yeah, sorry.
Although I've not seen many reviews of it actually.
I've read a couple that talk about how its main message is a little confused, but it sounds interesting. I'm Watch Dogs Legion. I'm much more amiable to. I think it is actually genuinely trying something unique.
Yeah.
With potential to be expanded upon into something genuinely interesting.
Because Watch Dogs 2, I didn't play much of. It wasn't. I feel like it didn't have the same magic as Watch Dogs, the first Watch Dogs.
That's a
But
very
this one, I
interesting
feel like
opinion.
it's added a lot. Watch Dogs 2 is a good game, and Watch
Yeah.
Dogs 1 is a good game. But because I'd already played Watch Dogs 1, I feel like when I started playing Watch Dogs 2, it was just kind of the same game, or not the same
Yeah.
game, but a very similar game. And I never really got into it, whereas I can
that's
see myself
surprising.
getting into Watch Dogs Legion,
Yeah, well, I think Watch Dogs Legion is definitely trying to do something new.
because
I
it's
think
trying
that's
something new.
important.
And it's still, I mean, the hacking stuff's great in the first two, so,
Mhm.
if it's still got that with another
Well,
element,
it's been
I
a
think that's good.
pretty decent while since Watch Dogs 1, I suppose, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Also,
So,
this
yeah, I
one-
think I'll probably get that. And then I'll get Cyberpunk in like a year or half a year when I've got a new computer or something like that.
Yeah, I'm still very slowly playing through The Witcher 3, which I will probably not finish anytime soon. And after
Yeah.
that, I want to play 13 Sentinels Aegis Rim, because I hear it is very good, and also nobody bought it, and that makes me feel very sad. So I want to support them.
I've got a lot of games. I've got Jedi Fallen Order to play. I've got Red Dead Redemption 2 to play.
Well, once I finish
Loads of games.
Witcher 3, and that is, quite a big once,
Yeah.
I, for the first time in a long while, have actually played every game I own for one console. And that I will have actually
Right.
finished all my PS4 games. My Switch is already lost
That's
in
pretty
terms of ever catching up to the games I own for it.
Yeah.
But that'll be nice. I'll feel like I'm getting my money's worth at once.
Well, I'm definitely looking forward to Christmas, where I'll be able to kind of set full days aside to play video games, because that's
Yeah.
kind of my thing.
Sadly, my Christmas break is over, I think. I started work today, on my dissertation after
Oh,
taking
I
like
mean,
and a
yeah,
half off.
I've got a lot of work to do over Christmas.
Yeah,
It's
I'm
just
sure it's the
that
same for you as well.
I will be able to take certain days off, to do it,
Yeah,
which
that would be
I
much
prefer.
healthier than what I did.
Because what I've been doing during the semester is basically not taking any days off, and it's pretty stressful. And then the games
Yeah.
I end up playing are not ones I would want to play as much.
Yeah, well, it's easier to like go for something that you can play in short bursts rather than.
Which is what I've been doing. Like I've been playing, and I still enjoy them. I've been playing like FIFA and NBA and shooters and all that kind of stuff, and I still like that, but it's just not the same
Yeah.
same stuff.
Oh, yeah. Also, just related, and because we brought it up earlier, I did watch the Game Awards
Yeah,
2 days ago. I hate them a lot. I really don't like how they're just a showcase for trailers, and that they like really just pass over the awards, like they sort of consider them inconvenient. I really hate when they don't give the people like proper acceptance speeches or anything, and they just sort of rattle off awards one after another. Um, I think it's just shitty. I really don't think
yeah,
this should be trailers at an award show. It makes it sound. I feel it's. And the thing is, all award shows are obviously influenced by like the people who make the stuff. No one's like pretending the Oscars are a bastion of impartiality. But I feel that's too naked when you have trailers literally in it. And
yeah.
also, I don't like how Among Us got. I think Among Us deserved those awards, but like, I don't think it should have won 2 awards in the Game Awards 2020. It came out 2 years ago,
Hmm.
and it seemed weird to me that no one was willing to acknowledge that.
Yeah, because it's not even that it's changed much; it's just that people kind of
No,
discovered it.
I mean a new map was announced there, which
Yeah,
seems
it's Star Trek, right?
no airship. Uh,
Oh, I thought they were making a Star Trek map or something.
they might also be doing that.
Okay.
Although this sort of goes back to what I'm saying, where it's a bit weird to watch people give an award for Cyberpunk for being the best multiplayer game, and then also show off not Cyberpunk Among Us, and then also show off a trailer
Yeah.
for it. Also, they have an award for most anticipated game, which is such bullshit. Like that's just what game has the best marketing. That shouldn't be
What
praiseworthy.
what was the word? Sorry.
Most anticipated.
Huh.
It's like what the fuck?
That's interesting. Oh, there's a sale on Steam. I'm just seeing now for the Game Awards.
Yeah. Also, they gave the award to Elden Ring, and nobody's seen anything of that game for years. Like, setting.
Yeah. Cool.
Anyway,
I don't know, man. Yeah.
there are. I appreciate more important things to watch. Oh, also, I have been watching Mobile Suit Gundam, which is very interesting. I've been enjoying it a lot more than I thought I would. It's surprisingly really good for an anime from the 70s. It's just really good at like introducing moral complexity in very like small ways that like a a worse show would just not have bothered to do. And I find that really impressive, given that it's a show ostensibly designed to sell toys.
Yeah.
But like they will, but like the main pilot can be a bit of a dick sometimes. He can be selfish. He doesn't really care about the people he's saving. The superior officers are all kind of dicks. The Earth Federation doesn't really care about them, and it's just using them as a diversion whilst they build better weapons. The villains are horrible, but are also weirdly sympathetic at times in ways that I think just like it's very clearly a good versus evil conflict, but it's done in such a way that it has texture that I think worse shows would not involve, and I appreciate that. So it's been a really entertaining watch. I'm looking forward to watching more Gundam stuff once I've watched the first season, and thus have context for the rest of it. Yeah.
Good. Do you know what I've just been reminded of?
Yeah.
Do you get a bunch of adverts on Facebook for really weird Steam games that are not out yet?
Nope.
Like Pizza Simulator or Human Farm or any other variety of like completely random games.
I've realised that I have a block on Facebook. So.
Oh well, let me know if you do, because
Oh no,
they're all the
my
same.
current-
They're all the same advert, right? So they're different games, but it's the same advert, and then it always ends like add to your wish list, and then it comes up with a link, and you click on it, and it's a game that's not out yet, that's like completely random. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah, Mike. The only sponsored post I have right now is for Waitrose Fondue.
Right.
Which doesn't paint me in a great light, but you know.
Waitrose fondue. That sounds nice. Cool.
Right. Well then.
Well,
Shall we call it an eve?
I think we shall call it an episode.
Coolio. Julie. Goodbye.
Bye, everyone. Thank you for coming along.
Cool. Don't watch the Aristocats. Watch something else if you like.
Yeah, just don't watch it. If it's your favourite childhood film, sorry, but it's not as good as you think. The person that played Scat Cat is called Scatman.
That's nice. Also, I forgot that there was a character in this film called Scat Cat.
Yeah. Scatman Crawfers. Oh, he's the guy from The Shining.
Oh.
You know the black guy from The Shining?
Yeah, I figured it out. But yeah.
Okay. Well, that's cool. Okay, bye.
Alright.